Welcome. This is Deborah Leanne, and it's time for a bit of authentic life radio. I'm just going to breathe into this moment and get present. I invite you to do the same. I have been futzing with technology for the last 30 minutes and hope that my message is still intact. I really enjoy when I write something and then immediately hit the record button to start talking about it. But today didn't quite work that way. I needed to create a video or two, and I thought, what if I recorded myself as I shared my message in this format and tried a couple different things, and I couldn't get any of them to work. So back to square one, we will just focus on doing one thing at a time. So here I am, getting present, breathing into this moment, so we can talk about occupying yourself. For a while back, there was the whole Occupy movement, and whatever your political leanings, it was really important to note that people were serious enough to pick up and move and camp out there on Wall Street to let the financial institutions know that they were not happy with some of the ways that our money is being invested, the ways that they were pushing legislation, and the messages were shared in a nonviolent yet very physical and very present way. These people were living there on the street in their protesting space, taking up the space and occupying so that the public areas on Wall Street, so that as the investment bankers and the CEOs and all of the people that worked in those buildings walked by, they could see, they could feel, they could touch if they wanted to, the message that was being delivered by these people. The same with those that stood at Standing Rock, protesting the building of a pipeline through sacred land that not just was offensive to them and their heritage, but it was also very offensive to any of us who drink water that come from those rivers in the middle of our country. The Missouri, the Mississippi, the rivers that would be affected if this pipeline, which all pipelines end up doing, has a leak and it gets into our water table. So these people were standing for their heritage, for our shared planet and space, for clean drinking water. And they were standing and they moved there, and people I know would go for a week at a time to bring supplies and stuff. But these people were there during bitter cold, and while law enforcement was spraying freezing cold water on them to try to get them to stand back, they stayed their ground, literally. And you have to be really clear on what you want to take a stand of that proportion. And I'm here to say that you need to take a stand of that proportion for you. You need to occupy yourself. I will speak for myself, I am all about learning to occupy Deborah. Because when I am within my space of my being, and I am coming from what is true for me, and I am shining from that space of power and wisdom within me, it is amazing how it allows that space around me to be safe for others, to shine their light, to speak their truth, to share their visions, to show up as they truly and authentically are. I'm getting this feedback over and over again. I delivered a short 10-minute talk the other day, and it was called Shine. And I don't know where the inspiration came from. I really enjoy the whole idea of the shine principle that I heard about at a conference. One of the keynote woman, I'll have to put her name in the newsletter because I'm not remembering it right now. It was fascinating to hear about how when she helps her best friend, one of her colleagues, actually a competitor in the same world as her, when she helps her grow her business and shine her reputation, her wisdom, her work in the world, it allows that shine to come back in a synergistic way so that it comes back and allows herself to shine. So here, for a long time, we've come from such a place of competitiveness. And what she's done is she's flipped that and said, what if I allowed you to be even more fabulous as you are? And that in turn helps me to be more fabulous as me. And there's room for all of us to be fabulous and wonderful and powerful and wise. There's room for every one of us to create the change that we are here to do. And yet we often run around and feel like, ooh, she's treading in my playground. I don't want to let her play on my playground. That's my playground. Which is coming from a scarcity mindset. So what if you filled up with all of your own wisdom and power and juicy yumminess, your brilliance, and you just shined that out in the world? Unapologetically, not trying to hide anything, showing up as real as you are. And what if that was more than enough? What if by you doing that, taking a stand for who you are and what your message is, whether or not it's clean and pretty and then marketing approved and all that, what if you just shared who you are in this moment right now, and you shared your vision and you shared your value to the world about how amazing you are, took a stand for that? What would that shift for you? Because it has to begin with you. It definitely will shift the relationships of others around you and how they treat you, because then we will be entraining them how to treat us. That is key. I think very often we feel that how people treat us is out of our control. And some of it may be, but there's a lot to be said about how we can actually train people how to treat us. And it's how we treat ourselves. It's beginning within. Another friend I met with in the last week shared with me her definition of integrity. We were talking about authenticity and why I believe authentic leadership is key to where we need to go to create change consciously and creatively. And I said, because it starts with this self-awareness piece, where our strengths are and where our shadows are, and an awareness of our body, our somatic awareness, as well as our mind and heart and soul. And the other half of that is integrity. And she said, define integrity for me. And I shared about how I felt like it was being and living from your truth and coming forward in a way that's transparent and operating within the laws of the universe, the planet, and coming from a place of living from our truth. Because when we're in alignment with our truth, it tends to show through as integrity and authenticity. And she said, that's interesting because I have a different definition. And I said, oh, I'd love to hear. And she shared with me that her view of authenticity and integrity, especially integrity, was coming from being whole. W-H-O-L-E, whole. And I talk a lot about being whole and holy, about when we call all of our power back to us and we are aware of and tuned in to all of the pieces that are running us, mind, body, heart, and soul, the old stories, the visions of possibilities of where we want to go, all of those pieces are still us. And when we operate in wholeness, that's where we can operate with authenticity. And when she described it being when you're out of integrity, there's something that's missing. You're out of alignment. You maybe didn't tell the complete and whole truth to a friend, and you need to go back and clean that up. Maybe there was something that happened that could have happened differently if you would have showed up in your wholeness. So wherever those places where we break that trust or connection or alignment or come across as less than, because we can never be less than, we're operating as less than whole, which puts us out of integrity, which then means we tend to show up out of alignment with our authenticity, our authentic voice, our authentic value. And people don't want to listen to, lead, respect, or value someone who doesn't show up standing for their own value, standing for their own unique expression in the world. When we discount ourselves, literally and figuratively, both, it comes across. People can feel it. When someone gets up on stage and is sharing and they pretend like they've got all of this knowledge and credibility and they're trying to force that credibility down our throats, we don't feel comfortable. We kind of feel like they're operating as less than. Like, why are they having to prove that to us? Versus if they just show up and share who they are, we tend to connect with them. We tend to bond. We tend to trust more easily. And that all comes from an inner, awareness of your inner landscape. And if we are tuned in and occupying our body wholly, WHOLLY, it makes such a difference. We're grounded, we're confident, and I'm breathing into my body and allowing my shoulders to relax because I could feel the tension that was starting to take hold. And that's not what I want to deliver to you. I set the intention that as I speak to you each and every time during these podcasts, that I give you a chance for you to relax into who you are, for you to pick up at least one little nugget that supports you in being the best you that you can be. That's my vision for the world. That's my intention for the world. That's what I'm passionate about. Is being the best me and showing up and shining my best self out there, fully occupied, embodied, and lit up, so that when I'm shining out there, it gives you the space, the permission, the safe, environment for you to blossom even more fully into yourself. And I want to continue going back to what is it that you stand for? Think of something that you already feel passionate about. It may be something outside of you, but that may be the best way for you to tap into what that feeling is. Most of us understand if you're a mother, whether it's of furry, four-legged babies or for the humankind, you will fight for your child. There's something about mother bear energy that we talk about or lioness, how they take care of their cubs. We will fight anybody who's trying to hurt our children. And a lot of times we expand that to fighting for all children or for other children. But what is it that what's your cause? Is it animal rights? Is it the environment? Is it just better education for all children or for your children? What lights you up? Is it race or sex or more of an authentic government leadership? I mean, there's people that are politically involved now who had never been politically involved. And we can thank our current administration for that. It has brought people to discussions that they probably never would have had before. We had to get to a place where it was so divisive and things were so in our face and starting to affect more and more and more of us before these conversations could happen. Unfortunately, we tend not to get involved when things are going along and just going along. But as soon as something starts to hit our personal our backyard, it starts hitting our opportunities for promotion, to make equal pay, to be treated as an equal human being, then we start getting angry because you're hitting my turf. This affects me or my family or my grandchildren or wherever you're going to go with that. And I'm going to ask that once you tap into whatever that is that lights your fire of passion and anger, and please do not be afraid of it, because that anger is what creates change. We can take it as fuel, turn it into a more creative force versus destructive force. Even though we do have to just destroy certain things for things to be recreated, I get that. The goddess Kali Ma is known for that. She can come in and really, destroy things. If you think of Mother Nature when she does her hurricane, tsunami, tornado stuff. Yeah, it's destructive. What if we could use that fuel for creativity? What if you took a stand and shared with passion what you believe? Tell your truth. What is your vision for a better world? Or what is the vision for the next step? What is your vision for this weekend to have a wonderful, fabulous time with friends or family? If we continue to go along with what is, we're never going to get to where we want to go. It's taking a risk. It's showing up. It's shining. It's taking a stand. It's occupying. And it all starts within. So I'm going to encourage you to start a dialogue with someone. Share with someone that may not be like you, that you're confused and you don't know what the next step is to create change. And how can we all work together? I'd love your input. Sharing that with someone else opens the door, allows for collaboration, allows for this willingness to do this thing together. It invites change. It invites relationship and connection, which is what we all desperately need and want, especially an authentic one. But it can't come by you blaming someone else for not being there. It has to come from you being in here, in me, in you, in yourself. And on that note, we'll close for the week. But I want to leave you with some questions. What do you stand for? What is your vision for a better world? How much do you care about creating change? Do you care more about it, or do you care more about staying safe and small barely showing up on the radar screen. Go in and ask what your spirit and heart and body and mind say. There's going to be a few voices that are going to be scared and say, I don't want to be seen that way. I don't want to be seen as a bitch. I don't want to be seen as a mean person. And part of that you may have to just let go of. And part of it is very interesting because when we speak out sometimes, we get the exact opposite. We get the respect. We get the sense of being valued and validated. But we won't know until we speak up. Begin within. Take a stand and start with you. Occupy you. Take good care. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.